Shetel Sabir Alas, Zansong Razat, Gigan Agser, Isan, Betan, Nam Idos, Shoshis. Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Mafala Kill, Chamberpoint, where currently it's the 2nd of Timber, 1207, right at the end of our first year here. And, well, you know, I was going to try to stay positive and say it's been a very productive year, but, you know, when you get down to it, we have 50 citizens and we should have been a lot more productive. Yeah, we weren't productive at all, really. This is all we have to show for our time here so far. Couple of shabby structures. We don't even have enough houses for all our citizens yet. That's something we really have to work on. Right now we have 58 citizens, a respectable amount, about a quarter of what I expect to be our total population. But right now we only have, well, I forget what the exact number is, but I think it's like 31 houses, and they're not even furnished or anything yet. Yeah, we're not in a great state around here, frankly. Got our damn panda people all starving to death. Nobody's died yet, but, well, it's bound to happen if we can't get a handle on it. We do have their compound all set up over this way, but it still requires a few touches in order for it to be ready for them. The walls are constructed, and if you look up, the roof is coming right along. But yeah, they need beds. It's a mess. Oh man, and speaking of messes, we have a couple of people over here throwing tantrums, which is extremely bad news, especially considering one of them is a panda man, one of our largest and most powerful denizens. Their name was Ila Enyuralini, by the way, a potter. Gonna have to be keeping an eye on that one. Gonna continue work on that compound right away. Actually, it looks like we have an elf over here throwing a tantrum too. We have to get a better handle on things or else we're gonna start falling apart. Well, one of the things we're doing in order to try to improve conditions, at least down the road a bit, is, well, we're gonna be messing with our layout a tad. Remember, we're not gonna really wanna cut down that many trees if we can help it. We have elven neighbors and allies, and cutting down trees is something they don't care for that much. And so what we're doing here is we already have wooden structures up here on the surface, but we're going to try to replace that with stone at some point. And furthermore, we're also digging around these structures. You might be able to see that here. And if we do that, then each of these houses will effectively be 2 stories tall, the upper level and the lower level, which means that each of these houses will count as 2 houses, neither of which will be made out of wood. Yeah, that'll help things, certainly. We're going to have to get that done quickly. Our people need proper places to live. Speaking of accommodations, it looks like our panda compound is all set, and they are in there, but, well, it's going to take some tweaking. They're able to eat, but there's no drinks in here, something I forgot to provide them with. So that being the case, we're digging out a well right now. Pandas, powerful allies that are kind of a hassle. While dwarves are busy working, we're going to take a peek in on some of our dwarves. First up, we have Stackout over here, our expedition leader, currently conducting a meeting, I don't know with who, and I should also say this is a terrible place to conduct a meeting. Gonna have to get him in office, I guess. What a pain, huh? This poor guy, he's got an awful lot on his plate, but he seemed to be doing pretty well overall, honestly. Hang in there, you good dwarf. We gotta keep this place afloat. Oh, no. What happened there? Well, you know, not too sure what happened or is happening. I think someone threw a tantrum. I see an awful lot of blood and a dead elf. And a dead panda person, too. Our first casualties. Oh man, Stackout. Get a grip on this place, huh? I'm fairly confident that was Thob, the miner, who started that fight right there. Remember, he's the one who led the expedition to this place originally? I mentioned that he was in a pretty foul mood, and that mood seems to be getting worse. Quickly, too. Ooh, not good. Not good at all. Well, right. We're gonna have to do something with those corpses, aren't we? Probably should get a prison as well, huh? Okay, let's get to it, dwarves. Now, okay, the place is unsettled. That much we know. We have a lot of finicky little things to get straight around here. I'm sure you've realized at this point. And so we're just gonna let them work for a little bit. I'm really hoping we can get to the point where the people here consider themselves to be full citizens. So we can give them labors, assign bedrooms, and then we can really get down to business. But until that happens, it's gonna be a big mess. So yes, we're just gonna let them work for a second. And I wanna show you the map real quick, just so you can see the world and what we're dealing with. Okay, here we are, the map of Orid Ashi. And you can see here right in the middle of this area, this little flashing X is where Chamberpoint lies, just on the eastern edge of the Ocean of Lace. Now I'm going to change what it looks like right here, and you can see all these green settlements around us. Those are our friends and allies, or at least places we're neutral with. We shouldn't be getting any trouble from them. Just down here to the south, mostly, is the elven civilization known as the Glimmer of Worth. They're the ones we traded with earlier this year, and I expect we'll have another trade caravan coming up soon, actually. That'll be nice. Gonna zoom out now, just like that, and if you look downwards to the south, you can see a bunch of red settlements. Those are the ones controlled by the enemy, the Abbey of Proliferation and its mad, beardless baron. And you'll probably notice too that they control a lot of settlements. A real lot. Yes, those are some powerfully scary forces. And so we had better pull things together quickly, or else there's going to be some trouble coming soon. Also, you can see down to the south the scattered remnants of our civilization, the Glad Boulder. They're the blue settlements. There's hardly any of them at all, and we're spread so thin across the land that it's no surprise we've lasted this long. We have kind of a cockroach tactic going on. We're everywhere, but we're small. Kinda hard to stamp us out, unlike those poor souls in the Fresh Theater. Their empire was down here, in this knob of mountain range in the south. The Baron set his sights on them and they were smashed out within a year. They were much, much stronger than we are, and really we thought they were stronger than the Abbey of Proliferation too. But it only took a year for the Beardless Baron to wipe them out totally after he set his gaze on them. But it's not going to happen to us. No way. Too much at stake. Assuming our citizens don't kill each other first. It's really not that bad here, I don't think. Oh boy. Looks like Ela, the Panda Man, has thrown another tantrum. Not the best. Please don't do that anymore. Like, for real. A panda person throwing a tantrum and fighting with the dwarves is probably the worst thing we could have right now. Just cool it, please. Take it easy. My god. Well, in other news, spring has just arrived, and with it, the elves once again. Hoping to do some more good trading this year. Gonna see what we can scrounge up. We really don't have that much, though. Here's hoping for the best. Now, gotta be very careful here because we trade one wooden item with them, and they're gonna cancel everything and just leave. Wood is very important to the elves. For some stupid reason. But we gotta respect it. Now, let's see here. Well, you can see we have a bunch of backpacks and water skins, some tattered clothing, a couple of statues. These are all things we're trading. And what the hell, might as well just trade it all. And let's see what we can get for our trouble. A giant rattlesnake. I like the sounds of that. I'll take it. And a chimpanzee. Huh, I'll take it. And a female grizzly bear. We got a male last year. That's the most exciting trade right there. See how much more variety they came with this time? Just because they got a good trade last year. It's going to be very important for us to trade more than we have to, I think. Just so we can keep getting these good deals. I'm kind of torn on this giant cheetah. It's something I want, but is it something we need? We'll come back to it. Okay, I think that'll do it. Let's try. Oh boy. They don't have a wagon like the dwarves have, so the weight of these statues I think is too much. We'll try this. Okay, there we go. We got those animals. I did not take the giant cheetah, but that's fine. Other than that, we got a bunch of wooden items because again, we don't want to cut down that many trees. One of the things I'm most excited about is, well, you can see it somewhere in this depot here. We got a, I'm looking, I don't see it anywhere. Oh, and actually, before we get to that, it looks like we have a new wave of migrants here. Very helpful. 5, 6, a whole bunch. Good. Oh man, that's good. We can finally start getting some work done. Oh, hold up. Oh, really hold up. Oh no. Looks like we have another necromancer here, Tobol, a Sholid Lorbam, a dwarf necromancer. And then we have this one over here, Ral Katenmis here. Looks to be a ranger. Okay, welcome. Get to work, will ya? Oh boy. You know, I'm starting to think all these necromancers are here due to that beardless baron. It makes sense if you think about it. The forces of Scorch Fountain have pushed all the necromancers out of their towers, and they're scared. Who could blame them? Keep this in mind. Necromancers are not bad people at all. In fact, some of them are quite well respected. Yeah, it's going to be pretty important to keep that in mind. They're not all bad people. A little spooky, a little creepy perhaps, but it's all a matter of perspective. In fact, these necromancers might turn out to be our greatest allies here. Only time can tell. Oh man, looks like we've had another death down here in the mines, and it's kind of a confusing scene. I'm not too sure what happened here. It was a farmer who was killed, Udib, and it was Stackhud, our expedition leader, who killed them. And really I have no idea why. As far as I could tell, neither of them was throwing a tantrum. It really looks like Stackhud just went after this farmer. Again, I don't really know why. That is a bit strange. Yeah, I don't know what caused that. Just a lot of fighting in the fortress these days. I say these days, as if there was ever no fighting. This place is a mess. Well, moving right along here, it looks like we had an artifact created, our first of the fortress. Well, that's a bit of good news. Reg O'Killablel, the mechanic, has created Unobendak, a microcline mechanisms. He claims it as a personal treasure. Wonderful, let's have a look. Unobendak, the mellow attic. Worth a measly 6,000. Yeah, that's not a lot at all. This here is a microcline mechanisms. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. This object is adorned with hanging rings of microcline and menaces with spikes of microcline. Not a lot to say about it, really. Microcline mechanism. Spikes, microcline. It's our first artifact, so that's good. But other than that, no, it's kind of plain, really. Actually, you know, it might be a really good idea to put this in a well or something. Not like down in the well, but like use it to construct a well. That way dwarves can use it and see it on a daily basis. It'll help improve the mood around here, I think. And I figure while we're here looking at artifacts, we also have two others that were brought here by the founding party. We have Damarem Aklemha, Warngloss, the Twig of Stirring, a cherry opal mug, worth 48,000, a lot more than that mechanism. It's a cherry opal mug encircled with bands of Brelet cut violet spessartines and adorned with hanging rings of native silver. A very nice item. From what we understand, this was given to the party by a necromancer found out in the wilds. Very interesting to be sure. You gotta wonder if there's more to the story than that though. And we have one other artifact here too. Genlathador Nothissostar, Seduced to Drowns, the Grieving Burial. A dwarf bone throne. Worth 2,400, not very much at all. Again, a very simple artifact here. This is a dwarf bone throne that menaces with spikes of goat bone. A particularly ghoulish item to be sure, made of dwarf bones. This was another treasure brought by the founding party. I guess they had gotten this one from a group of elves in some fort somewhere. Somewhere far away. I can't believe they carried it all the way here, but it's here now. And you can see it here in our meeting hall, just kind of right in the middle of things. A surprisingly comfortable seat. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep this thing in the meeting hall. It'll be its permanent place here. Anybody can view it or sit in it, whatever the hell they like. Also, you can see that mug in there too, the cherry opal one. That thing's used by everyone. A much sought after drinking vessel. And who could blame them? It's a hell of an item. Alright, I said it before, but you know what we really need around here is a prison. We keep having these tantruming citizens, and something has to be done with it. The only big problem is that we don't have any metal, and to make a proper prison we need metal cages. Well, actually, I guess we do have one metal cage. I assume it had an animal in it. We must have got it from the traders. It's made of tin. We're just gonna put it down here in the mines. Our only option, really. Okay, anyways, I think we're in need of some good news around here. And for starters, over here at the eastern side of our meeting hall, you can see the horn beetle pasture. We now have the 3 adults, 2 females and a male, as well as 5 young ones. Yes, recently we got some eggs to hatch. A difficult process, but we managed it. So now we're up to 7 horn beetles. Not too bad at all. Pretty happy about it, actually. That's gonna help us out in the long run. As for some other good news, you can see up here our farm area. It's actually quite large, and there are 7 different plots here, some of which were just recently destroyed by our tantruming citizens, but they're getting rebuilt. And before that happened, we were pumping out quite a variety of plants. So that's really good, actually. We have an enormous variety of drinks brewed here in the fortress. So we have that going for us, at least. As for our bedrooms, you can see we've been busy trying to replace the floors with granite. We're doing that before the walls, and it's coming right along. I think, well, our population is at 75 currently. That last migrant wave was a big one. I think about 2/3 of our population has bedrooms now. Trying to keep up with it as best as we can. Okay, here's a problem. Looking up here in the panda compound, and I thought it was all set for them, but they're all still starving to death. I don't know why they're starving to death. I mean, you saw it before. I did it a couple times where we just put them outside and they stopped being hungry. So I guess I assumed they were grazing, but they don't appear to be doing that anymore. Just for safety's sake, I put a stockpile of plants in here so maybe they could eat that. They don't appear to be doing that either. So I'm not too sure what the deal is. I guess I'm just going to turn off their burrow here and let them roam around the fortress once again. But wow, they are becoming quite the hassle. Was really hoping they'd make us some powerful allies, but they're more a hindrance than anything, seemingly. Not too sure what to do about that. None of them have died of starvation yet, so we gotta be doing something, right? I don't know what the hell they're eating. Oh, no, terrible news over here. Well, alright, this is what I wanted to show you earlier, our temple. More on that in a second, because we have some bad news. Right here you can see we have a berserk dwarf. They've had it with the fortress. Enough is more than enough, and they're about to go on a killing spree. Worse still is that this dwarf here is Thob. the one responsible for leading the founding group to this place and giving Chamberpoint its name. A surly bastard for sure. He's been causing fights everywhere, but, well, I guess this is it for him. I do not think this is going to go very well, but let's just see what happens. We don't really have an option other than just let it happen. We're going to follow Thob. Okay, here we go. A lot of blood, a lot of people in here. Boy, that was quick. But yes, he perished in that fighting. Ooh, a real shame right there. Not too sure what happened, really. You know, it's just something you really hate to see. Losing a good dwarf like that. So much potential wrapped up in this one individual, such a history, and just like that, they're gone. I know things were rough around here, real rough. I don't really blame the guy, but I don't know, just stinks. Well, anyways, this will give you a chance to see what we do with corpses around here. You see, normally we bring them over to the corpse pile out on the beach, far away from the fortress, but that's not really good enough. We don't really have a place for a tomb yet, so we've been taking the corpses and bringing them down to the mines. We don't really want to just leave them out on the beach, getting picked over by the fairies and pixies. That's just nasty. On top of that, if any dwarf sees a pile of corpses, they're going to start freaking out. And so we had to figure out something to do with them, so yes, we bring them down here to the mines, and we just kind of throw them over the edge, just like that. And now Thob is down here in the mines. From what we understand, the necromancers might be able to bring these things back to life as intelligent undead. But it's kind of difficult. The necromancer in question has to be in a state of mortal terror in order to do it. And we really don't have anything that causes mortal terror around here yet. We need a nice enemy soldier or some sort of a creature or something. It's kind of hard to explain. Hopefully you'll get to see it in the future. Unfortunately, we can't do anything with this guy though. Oh, and then after we deal with the corpses like that, we still have to memorialize them, so we engrave a little bit of something about the dwarf in question onto a slab, and we've been placing the slabs over here, in our new temple, the area I was going to show you before. Yes, here it is, just kind of a general temple area. Got a couple statues in there, some slabs, some workshops, and this altar. This is what we got from the elves earlier. A gold opal altar. And I don't know what the hell they were doing with it, honestly. It seems strange that they'd have their hands on something that came from the earth like this. It's an intriguing item, and it's a good centerpiece for our first temple. Oh boy. Looking over to the east, and it looks like we have another migrant wave. Let's see what we got. Okay, got a dwarf, 2 dwarves, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more dwarves. And no necromancers. Go figure. That'd be our first necromancer-less migrant wave right there. Alright, back over here at the fortress grounds, you can see everybody's running around getting ready to work, doing some pretty tedious stuff right now. We made a temporary hospital here in the meeting hall, and it doesn't look like we have near enough beds. We have a lot of wounded here in the fortress, and we haven't even been attacked yet. It's kind of sad. Over here you can see our new well house. We figured we'd build a little structure around the well just so dwarves don't have to be out in the rain whenever they use it. Gonna put a couple more wells in there too eventually. And okay, looking over here we have a petition for a guild hall, a woodworker guild. Gonna put it on the back burner for now and just really try to work quickly and make a place for them. We actually failed to make both of these guild halls over here in time. It takes a while to get them just right. So before we even accept it, I'm gonna try to make that building. And you know, because it's the woodworker guild, I think we're gonna put it out here in the woods. Makes sense, right? We'll just clear away a little space for it. It's not too far away from the settlement, but not very close either. How's that? Looks good to me. Ah, and it also looks like we have a petition for an herbalist guild. Okay, let's do it. We'll put it out here, how about connected to the woodworker guild? They're kind of similar in a way. Okay, so I figured we'd just do it like this. Woodworker guild in the front, and the herbalist guild in the back. Coming right along, we're going to want to make sure these things are turned into guild halls quickly, too, or else all the guild members are going to be very unhappy. Not something we can afford around here. Also, I will note that it just turned autumn, which means we've been here for about 2 years. Pretty darn exciting, isn't it? Ah, and wonderful. It looks like the dwarves have arrived to trade, with many wagons, actually. Very good. Yeah, they brought a whole lot. Fantastic. Gonna have to hold off on these guild halls for a second while we find something to trade. I think we're gonna come down here to the mines and build some microcline statues real quick. Maybe we'll trade those. I'm sure the traders can handle it with all those wagons they brought. People, what are you doing? Looks like a Testrys warrior is chasing around a dwarf mechanic. I'm not too sure why. Oh no, I caught him. Beating the hell out of him. Yeah, I really gave him a good beating. That's not excellent. Can we stop doing that? Up over here in the temple you can see another corpse. Well, things were going well for a little bit, weren't they? Ah, and it looks like the mechanic did die. Not too sure what that Testry did to him, but they did enough. Oh, good. It looks like the traders have left. Probably because our coastal fortress here is kind of a hellhole. Well, whatever. Looks like we have some more migrants here. A bit of good news. just up and down with this place these days. Good news, bad news, good news, bad news. Yeah, but here we go. Some very good news here. It looks like quite a few of our citizens have petitioned for official citizenship, which means that we'll be able to assign them to laborers, draft them into the military, and actually get some work done around here. That'd be nice. We really need some order. Yes, we're going to approve all of these. Awesome. And here comes the bad news to sweep away the good. Down in the mines here, we have a dwarf who just went berserk. Nobody we know, but they are next to a Gorlak. A Gorlak known as Kogan, part of the founding group and a well-respected member of the fortress. Also, it should be noted that he's currently carrying a boulder and will not be able to run away very quickly at all. Okay. Following the stoneworker, let's see how this plays out. Running over, beating the hell out of Kogan. Ooh, boy. Yeah, okay. I think he hurt Kogan pretty badly, but Kogan was able to kill him? Well, the stoneworker punched Kogan a few times, but then Kogan bit the stoneworker right in his foot. Scratched the stoneworker, took a couple punches, bit him again in his foot. Yeah, it looks like Kogan was biting the stoneworker for the most part, while getting punched. What a tough guy. Yep, going down here, biting, getting punched. I mean, it's ridiculous how much he was biting that stoneworker. At some point, he charged into the stoneworker, knocked him over, continued biting, latched on firmly, but the stoneworker is able to break the bite. Biting. Oh yeah. Oh wow, this goes on for a lot longer than I thought, actually. Oh, and here we go, right down here. It looks like the stoneworker was knocked out at some point. And then Kogan took the advantage and grabbed him by his head, bit him by his head, and just started shaking him around while retching and vomiting, seemingly. I think Kogan was punched in the stomach a couple times. Yeah, and that's what did it. Just shaking him around like an animal until he bled to death, at which point Kogan started retching and vomiting all over the place. Oh, he was in a rage too. Awesome. Wow. And here he is right here, heading up to, I assume, the hospital to get checked out. I think his hand was busted up pretty badly, but other than that, he's doing pretty all right. And he's currently saying,
I'm at my best under pressure.
There's a Gorlak. Big fan of this guy, I'll tell you that much. Real potential. Don't underestimate those tusks, that's for damn sure. And hey, there's some news right there. Good news yet to be determined. But our first mayor was just elected. Udil Unomosas, a necromancer. The crabby, miserable one that we met earlier. Yep, that's our new mayor. And he's probably going to need some better accommodations too. He really doesn't have that much right now. Just kind of a standard house. But he's going to need an office, dining room, all that stuff. So we're going to get straight to it. Right after those guild halls are done. Hey, what's going on over here? Looks like Fish Face is, well, just killed a piglet. What the hell was that about? I have no idea what that was about. Just punched a piglet to death on the beach. At a loss. Not too sure what to make of that. Okay, let's continue. Now, before we get back to those guild halls, I'd like to point out our new captain of the guard over here, Stackhud, our expedition leader. Since we have a mayor now, Stackhud is no longer in that position, but he's a tough individual, strong, and he clearly doesn't take any crap from anybody. You can see there he just threw a panda into that cage in our prison. And he actually has been beating criminals left and right. People are coming to him with complaints, and he's getting them all taken care of. I think this job is perfectly suited for the guy, honestly. Currently, he's saying,
I feel so good.
And additionally, you can see he feels zealous after beating a criminal. Yeah, he's in the perfect position here, I think. A scary dwarf when you get down to it, but it might just be that that's what this fortress needs. Oh my gosh, pure chaos in this place. Over here, it looks like a mule is going after an herbalist. Following the mule, who is just kicking the hell out of this herbalist and killed them. I'm not too sure why. This mule here is Godin, that's its name. Kogan's pet, actually, that Gorlak from earlier. The one that bit that stoneworker to death. Oh my god. Boy, this is one angry mule and I'm still not too sure why. Yeah, Godin ended up biting their hand, shook it around and tore off the hand, spit it out, bit him in their left upper arm, shook him around again, yanked off their arm, and then just went to town, kicked him in the head, and they died. Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened, but it looks like Godin didn't like this herbalist very much. Oh, and having a look over here, looks like we have yet another artifact in our woodworker guild. I'm going to show you that in a second. But here, yes, first, Ral Keten Messir, a dwarf ranger necromancer, that's that last one that popped up, has created a Termebzuth with Hololor. a menacing horsebone spike. She offers it to the Weight of Suffering, which is the name of our group here. Never really mentioned that, I suppose. We are the Weight of Suffering. Anyways, its name is Boulder Ore, the Noble Letter. A puzzling name. And it's worth 18,000. Not too bad. This is a menacing horsebone spike. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with horsebone and encircled with bands of round Morian cabochons, cushioned claystone cabochons, and fine pewter. Wow, that is a nice one. Horsebone spike. Now, this would be pretty okay in a trap or something. I can't imagine we could get that much use out of it. Actually, something we could do is just put it in a trap, like in our meeting hall or something like that, just so people could see it. Anybody could appreciate that craft dwarfship. Yeah, that might be a good idea right there, actually. I think we should do that. Fine work, Necromancer. You're going places. Well, now that we have that out of the way, I could show off our guild hall over here. Guild halls, I should say. We have the woodworker hall down in the south, lavishly appointed. You can see those microcline statues. We've been making a lot of those and just putting them everywhere. Dwarves really appreciate that. Everyone does. Got some tables in there, some chairs, some workshops. Why the hell not? And yeah, all done, 100%. And then if you have a look over this way here, you can see our new Ranger Guild Hall. We do have a lot of them in the fortress now, and they needed this. Almost done. It's getting there. Again, it's far away from our settlement, but pretty much right next to those other guild halls there. Should get the job done once we have it fully furnished. I'll also note that this is where we put our grizzly bears, both of them, male and female, hoping for some cubs down the line. That would be very good. And moving on here, you can see down this way here to the south on the beach, pretty far out there too, we're starting to build a tower. Coming right along, and currently it's 1, 2, 3 Z levels tall. And this is intended to be for our mayor. We figured it'd be a pretty good place for him, and any future mayors. And we might be able to use it for something else too, just because it's going to have all these levels. We'll have to see what happens. We still have a ways to go with it. And one last thing I would like to point out is over here to the west, on the beach as well, you can see a statue that we've placed. A statue of Thob, the poor leader of the founding party who passed. We figured we'd put it over here, just as a little reminder. He was a heck of a dwarf, and I just don't think he was prepared for life here. It's a big change from a typical dwarven existence, and I guess he just couldn't cut it, but he did enough. He helped to plant this seed, and now it's our job to make sure it grows. For Oradashi, and for Thob. Rest well, my friend. Whew, okay. I think that's gonna just about do it for now. We're still at the beginning of our 3rd year here, and we're about to roll over into spring, which means the elves will arrive. And I gotta say, you're probably not gonna believe it. I hardly do. But I think we're starting to fall into a bit of a rhythm. There's chaos, sure, but we're getting it under control, I believe. Again, believe it or not, that's on you. But I'm starting to see potential here. Chamberpoint might be a bit of a hellhole, but it's our hellhole. And if we're gonna survive here in Oradashi, we're gonna have to make it work. Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome to the end of the episode where we're going to be talking about some behind-the-scenes things. First off, I cannot stress enough how big a pain in the ass this fortress has been so far. It's kind of shocking. I don't know, something is wrong with them. Actually, they are our most miserable citizens. By far. I have yet to see any happy ones, I'm pretty sure. Just a bunch of miserable bastards. Elves, too. Both of them. They're all just so unhappy. It doesn't make any sense, really. I mean, well, we have been clear-cutting the forest, something that their culture holds dear. But I don't really think that's the problem. Actually, when you get down to it, I figured they'd be pretty happy here. We're outdoors, in this nice forest setting. I don't know. I just figured they'd be more satisfied. I mean, worst comes to worst, they all just end up dying off due to being severely unhappy. I don't know what else to say about that, really. The Gorlaks seem happy. All the Gorlaks. Testree's warriors, too. Very happy citizens. I might, depending on how things go, actually try to retire the fortress and put more adventurers in the fortress at some point. It's something I was planning on doing, but I guess I haven't mentioned it during the episodes. It might be cool. Call in reinforcements from the human lands, get some more Testree's warriors. Gorlaks could be cool, or maybe something else, too. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens. A lot of people don't really like it when I, kind of mess around with stuff like that. Some people lose their minds at Kruggsmash trying to make story or anything like that, which doesn't really make any sense. Some people just want the game to play out. Just pure fortress mode antics, that's it. But you gotta realize, from the instant you start playing, you're tweaking things, you're making things work for you, for better or worse. And really, when you get down to it, you could just box yourself in and survive in a little cube, which would be extremely boring, so I guess I don't mind kind of playing with the game like that. I don't know. My own personal perspective, I guess. And if you don't like it, the hell with you. I'm just kidding, I love you. Anyways, my bearded bastards, I thank you for joining me here today. I really do hope you enjoyed yourselves. And I also certainly hope to see you next time here in my fall I kill, Chamberpoint. And until then, you bearded bastards.